I walked into my house early and found my husband rehearsing a breakup speech. I came home early to surprise him with dinner. Instead, I heard him practicing how to leave me behind. Asterisk, I was supposed to come home at 7, but my meeting got cancelled. So I thought, why not surprise my husband with dinner? It was our anniversary in a few days, and I just picked up his favorite wine from the local shop. I even hummed to myself as I walked up to the door. Keys in hand. Smiling. But when I stepped inside, everything changed. I didn't announce myself. I wanted to sneak up behind him, maybe catch him doing something sweet or silly. But what I heard, it made my heart stop. I just don't love her anymore, he said. I froze. I peeked around the corner. He was standing in the living room, holding a piece of paper, reading aloud. My feelings have changed. It's not you. It's me, he continued. I felt dizzy. The wine bottle nearly slipped from my hands. Was he talking to someone? Was there a woman in the room? I leaned in farther. He was alone, just talking to the empty room. Rehearsing. It was a speech. Breakup speech. For me. He didn't see me yet. I backed away slowly. Went to the kitchen. Put the wine down. My hands were shaking. My husband, Daniel, the man I loved for 8 years, was practicing how to break my heart. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run in and ask him why, but I didn't. I stood there silent, listening. I know this is hard, he said. Still reading. I care about you deeply, but I can't keep pretending. We've grown apart. I covered my mouth. Tears filled my eyes. We've grown apart? Since when? We just went on a trip 2 weeks ago. He told me he loved me last night. He kissed me before work this morning. So why was he doing this? Was he cheating? Was there someone else? I finally made a sound. I think it was a sob. He turned around fast. His eyes went wide when he saw me. Emily? He said. He dropped the paper. I stared at him. Don't stop, I whispered. Go on. Finish your speech. He stepped toward me. It's not what it looks like. No, I said. Because it looks like you were preparing to dump your wife. He looked nervous. Guilty. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I didn't mean for you to hear that. I gathered. Can we talk? He asked softly. We're already talking. He walked over and tried to take my hand. I pulled away. I deserve to know what's going on, I said. He looked down. Then he sat on the couch. I stayed standing. I've been feeling this way for months, he said. I didn't know how to bring it up. So you wrote a script? I snapped. He winced. I didn't want to hurt you, Emily. I laughed bitterly. Too late. He leaned forward. I still care about you, but something's missing. The spark is gone. The spark? I repeated. He nodded. We don't laugh like we used to. We don't talk about dreams anymore. It's like we're roommates. My chest hurt. I felt like I couldn't breathe. And you never thought to talk to me before writing a speech? I was scared. Of what? Of hurting you. Of being the bad guy. I wiped a tear. You are the bad guy, Daniel. Silence. I walked to the table and sat down. So is this it? I asked. He didn't answer. I guess I should be glad I caught you practicing, I said. He looked up. I didn't mean for it to come to this, but it has. He looked away. I sat in silence for a minute. Then I asked, is there someone else? His head snapped up. No, God, no. I stared at him. Then why now? He sighed. Because I don't feel the same anymore. I nodded slowly. All right, you made your decision. I stood up. I'm going to stay at my sister's tonight. He got up too. Emily, please. No. I grabbed my bag. You already broke up with me. I just happened to hear it early. I walked to the door. He followed. I turned back before leaving. One more thing, I said. What? Don't worry about our anniversary plans. And I walked out. My hands were trembling. My heart felt like glass. Shattered. I sat in the car, started it. But I didn't drive. I just sat there, staring ahead, trying to understand what had just happened. How could everything fall apart in seconds? I thought we were fine, maybe not perfect, but fine. Now, I was alone. Everything felt cold. Empty. I finally drove off. But I didn't go to my sister's. Not yet. I needed to think. So I parked at a nearby park. Turned off the car, closed my eyes, and cried. I cried until my throat hurt, until my hands stopped shaking, until I could finally breathe again. When I opened my eyes, it was dark. I called my sister, told her I was coming over. She didn't ask many questions, just said, I'm here. When I got there, she hugged me tight, held me like a child. I broke down again, and she let me. I stayed in her guest room, stared at the ceiling all night. Didn't sleep. I kept hearing his voice. That speech, those words, the calmness in his tone. Like he'd already left me 1,000 times in his head. Morning came. I made coffee. Sat with my sister on the porch. She finally asked, what happened? And I told her. She was shocked. Angry. but also supportive. Do you want to fight for him? She asked. I didn't answer, because I didn't know. All I knew was that I didn't want to beg someone to love me. A few days passed. Daniel texted me. Called. I ignored him. Then he sent a long message. It said he wanted to talk again. In person. That he was confused. That maybe he rushed things. I didn't respond right away. I needed time. But my mind kept racing. What if he regretted it? What if it was fixable? What if I walked away too soon? My sister told me not to trust him so easily. He had a speech. This wasn't a sudden thing. She was right. But my heart was still tangled up in him. 8 years together. All those memories. Could they really nothing? I finally agreed to meet him. Public place. A small cafe we used to love. When I walked in, he stood up fast, looked tired. Nervous. I sat down across from him. We stared at each other for a second. Then he spoke. I'm sorry. I stayed quiet. He continued. I didn't mean for you to find out that way. I nodded slowly. I know. He sighed. I've been thinking a lot. So have I. He looked into my eyes. I don't want to lose you. My breath caught. What? I panicked. I thought things were worse than they were. I thought breaking up was the answer. And now I realize I was wrong. I studied his face. He looked sincere. But was it real? Or was he just scared to be alone? I love you, he whispered. I didn't respond. He reached for my hand. This time, I let him, but my heart still hesitated. I need time, I said. He nodded. I'll wait. We sat in silence for a while, then we left. He walked me to my car, hugged me goodbye. I didn't say I loved him back, because I didn't know if I still did. I drove away, still unsure. Something in me had shifted. Even if we stayed together, things would never be the same. I knew that now, and it scared me. Couldn't stop thinking about it. That moment, that speech, even though he said he was sorry, even though he said he'd made a mistake, I kept hearing his voice say, I just don't love her anymore. I tried to move forward, tried to pretend we could fix things, but my heart wouldn't forget. Stayed at my sister's for another week. Daniel kept texting. Calling. He sent flowers, left a letter on her doorstep. I didn't read it. Not right away. I didn't know if I could handle more words from him, but on the 7th night, I sat on the bed, opened the letter, and read every word. Emily, I know I broke something deep, and I'm not sure I can ever fix it, but I have to try. He wrote about our memories. Our first date, the time we got lost in the mountains and laughed until our stomachs hurt. He wrote about the way I hold his hand in my sleep, the way I dance in the kitchen when I think no one's watching. And he wrote, if you still love me, even a little, please let me make it right. Tears fell down my face, because part of me did still love him, but part of me was so tired. The next morning, I finally called him. He answered on the first ring. Emily? Yeah, it's me. I've missed you, he said softly. I read your letter. Silence. Then. Thank you. I think we should go to counseling. Couples therapy? He asked. Yes. I'll do anything. We made an appointment that day. It felt strange, sitting next to him in that small room, a stranger asking us questions, but I was desperate for answers. The therapist asked why we were there. Daniel spoke first. I was preparing to break up with her. She caught me, and I realized I didn't want to lose her. The therapist turned to me. And you, Emily? I don't know if I can trust him again. It was the truth. The sessions continued. Week after week. We talked. Cried. Yelled. There were good days. There were bad ones too. One night, we had dinner together. It felt almost normal. We laughed. Talked about movies. But then I looked at him and remembered that speech, and the smile faded. He noticed. You're thinking about it again, he said. I nodded. I don't know how to unhear it. He reached across the table, held my hand. I wish I could go back and erase it, but you can't, he nodded. I know. There were moments I felt close to him again, and moments I wanted to run. My sister told me, forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's choosing to move forward anyway. But was I ready? Was he? One night I asked him a question I'd been avoiding. Why did you fall out of love with me? He looked shaken. It wasn't one thing. Then what was it? He looked down. I think I stopped trying. I got comfortable. I stopped seeing you. That hurt, but it felt honest. And now? Now I see you everywhere. I see what I almost lost, and I hate myself for it. We sat in silence. Then he added, but the real question is, can you ever love me the same again? I didn't know, but I was still there. Trying. Was that love? Or just fear? I didn't have answers, but I kept going, one day at a time. We kept seeing the therapist. He started cooking dinner, cleaning up, doing the little things he used to forget. He held me more, Told me he loved me without being asked, but I watched everything. Studied his eyes, his tone. Waiting for cracks, waiting for signs it was all an act. One afternoon, I found a small notebook in his desk. It had pages filled with things he wrote about me. Her favorite tea is peach jasmine. She sings when she thinks I'm not listening. She taps her fingers when she's nervous. I cried reading it, because I didn't know if it was sweet, or if it was him trying to convince himself to stay. In therapy, I showed the notebook to the therapist. She asked Daniel why he wrote it. To remind myself how lucky I am, and maybe that was the truth. A month passed, then two. I moved back home. We took it slow. No pressure. Just learning to be us again. We started taking walks after dinner, holding hands, talking about the day. I wanted to believe we were healing, but one night, I had a nightmare. In it, he gave the speech again, but this time, he wasn't alone. There was a woman in the room, someone I'd never seen before. I woke up in a cold sweat. He was sleeping next to me. Stared at him for a long time, trying to calm my heart, trying to remind myself it was just a dream. But something still felt off. The next day, I asked him again, was there ever someone else? He looked confused. No, I told you. Are you sure? He nodded. If there was, I swear I'd tell you now. We promised honesty, remember? I wanted to believe him, but my gut was screaming. So I started checking things, his texts, his emails. I didn't want to, but I had to know. Everything looked clean. Nothing suspicious. Until I checked his cloud storage. And saw an old video, dated 4 months before the speech. I clicked it. It was him. At work, sitting in a car, talking to someone off dash camera. Laughing. Too comfortable. Then I heard a voice, a woman. Soft. Flirty. And she said, your wife won't find out. I froze. My heart stopped. He laughed in the video. Said, I feel guilty already. The screen went black. That was it. 10 seconds, but enough. I sat there. Staring. Tears falling. My worst fear confirmed. He did lie. There was someone else. I didn't confront him right away. I copied the video, saved it. Then I sat in silence for hours. Thinking, planning, hurting. When he got home that night, he smiled at me. Kissed my cheek, started telling me about his day. I nodded. Listened. Played along. But inside, I was burning. Later that night, I played the video for him. On the TV, without a word. He turned pale, sat down slowly, said nothing. When the screen went black, I turned to him, so I said, you want to try that again? He didn't speak, just stared at the floor. Who is she? I asked. He looked up ashamed. Her name was Lisa. She worked with me. It wasn't serious, but serious enough to make a joke about me. He rubbed his face. I was lost, and stupid, and I hate myself for it. I laughed bitterly. Wow, you spent 2 months convincing me to forgive you. And all this time, you were hiding the worst part. I didn't know how to tell you, so you let me think it was my fault. No, never. You said you fell out of love. You said the spark died. Turns out, you just found a new match. He winced. I'm sorry. Not enough. I stood up, walked to the bedroom, started packing. He followed me. Emily, please don't go. I should have gone the moment I heard that speech. This was a mistake, a huge one. I ended it before you ever found out. I turned to him, and yet you still lied. He fell to his knees. Literally, begging. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'll do anything to prove I've changed. You had your chance. He grabbed my hand. I love you. I pulled away. No, you love yourself. I zipped my bag. He sat there on the floor. Silent. I walked out. Again. Only this time, I wasn't crying. I wasn't shaking. I was done. Truly done. Went back to my sister's. Told her everything. She didn't say, I told you so. She just hugged me and said, you're stronger than you think. I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. He didn't fight it. Didn't beg anymore. He knew it was over. I moved into a small apartment. Got a dog. Started painting again. Things I hadn't done in years. Little by little, I found myself again. I smiled more. Breathed easier. And one night I looked in the mirror and saw a woman who survived. Not because he left, but because I walked away. The divorce papers were signed. Quietly. No lawyers screaming. No courtroom battles. Just 2 people sitting in silence. Ending something that once meant everything. He looked tired. I probably did too. We shook hands like strangers. Then, I walked away. I didn't look back and I didn't cry. Not that day. That came later. Alone. In my small apartment, with my dog curled at my feet. I cried for the girl who believed in forever. The girl who brought wine home to surprise her husband. The girl who never saw the storm coming. I cried until it hurt. Then I stopped and I started living again. One breath at a time. It was harder than I thought. The nights were the worst. I'd wake up reaching for him. Then remember there was no him anymore. Just me. Just Emily. And for a while, that felt like not enough. But slowly, I started building a life I didn't need to escape from. I repainted the apartment, got a plant, I kept alive, took long walks with the dog, started journaling. My therapist said healing isn't a straight road. It curves, twists, backtracks. I learned that the hard way. One day, I felt powerful. The next, I'd crumble seeing a happy couple. But I let myself feel it all. That was the difference. Before, I bottled things up. Now, I let them out, then I let them go. I ran into Daniel 3 months after the divorce. At the grocery store. He looked smaller. Older. Lonely. He smiled. Hey, hi, I said. He looked into my cart. You still get that peach tea? I nodded. You still remember? I remember everything, he said softly. I didn't respond, just kept walking. He followed. I'm really sorry, Emily. Still. I know, I've changed. I'm in therapy now. I'm learning who I was. That's good. He hesitated. I think about you every day. I gave a small smile. That's your burden now. And I walked away. I didn't feel angry, just empty. And free. Because his words didn't move me anymore. His regrets weren't mine to carry. I went home, made tea. Sat on the balcony. And breathed. Peace. That was the word. That's what I had now. Not perfection. Not love songs and grand gestures. But peace. And that was enough. For a while, until I met someone new. It wasn't planned. I wasn't even looking. But there he was. At a bookstore. Asking if I'd read the novel in his hands. I had. We talked. Laughed. He had kind eyes, gentle voice. We exchanged numbers. And I left with a smile I hadn't worn in a long time. His name was Ryan. He was divorced too. We understood each other. The pain. The doubt. The fear of trusting again. But we took it slow. Coffee first. Then walks. Then dinners. I told him everything. About Daniel. The speech. The lie. The heartbreak. He listened. Didn't flinch. Just held my hand and said, you didn't deserve that, and I'm glad you walked away. He never tried to fix me. He just made space for me. Safe space, and little by little, I stepped into it. We spent months getting to know each other. No rushing. No pressure. Just real moments. Real laughter. Real connection. One day, he looked at me and said, you're not broken, Emily. You're brave. And I believed him. Because I was. I survived. I rebuilt. I learned that being alone didn't mean being empty. It meant being whole. Complete. My life became mine again. I didn't live for someone else. I lived for me. One morning, Ryan brought me breakfast in bed. Pancakes. With strawberries. My favorite. He sat beside me. Nervous. Quiet. Then he pulled out a small box. I froze. Ryan. He smiled. I'm not proposing. Yet. Not until you're ready. But I wanted you to know. He opened the box. It had a ring. Not diamond. Not flashy. Just a small silver band. That's simple. Strong. Like me. It's a promise, he said. That I'll never lie to you. Never rehearse how to leave you. Only how to love you. Tears filled my eyes, but they weren't painful. They were healing. I nodded. Took the ring. And wore it. Not as a promise to him. But to myself. That I'd never settle again. That I'd choose peace. Honesty. Real love. And me. Most of all. Me. Weeks turned into months. Ryan and I traveled. Cooked together. Read books aloud at night. It felt easy. Natural. Safe. I still had scars. But they didn't bleed anymore. They were reminders of how far I'd come. Sometimes, I'd think about Daniel. Wonder if he found happiness. Closure. Maybe even someone new. But I didn't reach out. I didn't need to. His story had ended in my life. And a new one had begun. Mine. One I wrote without fear. Without scripts. Without waiting for someone to choose me. Because I'd already chosen myself. I looked around my apartment one night. Photos of me and Ryan on the wall. Laughter in the room. Joy in my chest. And I smiled. I thought about the day I walked in on that speech. The moment everything shattered, and I whispered to myself, thank you. Because that day, that terrible day, it saved me. It woke me up. It gave me a second chance. Not with Daniel. But with life. With love. With myself. And I was never going back. Not to who I was. Not to what I tolerated. Not to the girl who begged to be chosen. Now. I was the one who did the choosing. And I chose peace. I chose freedom. I chose real. Forever. It had been a year. A full year since the day I walked into my house early and found my husband practicing how to leave me. Full year since I left. Since I chose peace over pain. Since I started over. People say time heals, but healing isn't magic. It's messy. It's slow. It's real work. I learned to forgive, not to forget, but to free myself. Daniel was a ghost now, not haunting me. Just gone. He texted once. Happy birthday. I said, thank you. That was it. We never spoke again. I still wore the silver ring Ryan gave me. Not an engagement ring. Just a promise. One built on truth. One built on presence. Had someone now who showed up. Every day. Not perfectly, but honestly. And I showed up too. There was still fear. I'd be lying if I said it vanished. But Ryan never made me feel small for being scared. He listened. He held space. He helped me grow. One morning, we were walking our dog in the park. It was quiet. Chilly. The sun peeked through the trees. Ryan stopped. Looked at me. I love our life, he said. I smiled. Me too. He kissed my forehead. I've been thinking. I raised an eyebrow. He took a deep breath. Let's buy a place together. My stomach fluttered, not with fear, with something new. Excitement. Double quote really. He nodded. A fresh start. Something we build together. I thought about it. All we'd built already, how far we'd come, and I said yes. We started looking that week. Tiny homes. Old cottages, apartments, with big windows. And then we found it. A little house with ivy on the porch. A big oak tree out front. A quiet street. It felt like hours the second we walked in. I stood in the empty living room and whispered, "This is where peace lives." Ryan grinned. "We'll fill it with love." And we did, little by little. Boxes. Books. Laughter. Pasta nights. Socks on the floor. Dancing to music in the kitchen. No scripts. No secrets. Just us. One night, while painting the guest room, Ryan turned to me, brush in hand. "Do you still think about him?" I blinked. The question came out of nowhere. But I didn't flinch. "Sometimes," he nodded. "Does it bother you?" I asked. He shook his head. "I think you're stronger because of it." I looked at him. Really looked, and said, "I think you're why I healed." He kissed me. And we kept painting. The walls turned soft green. The room felt new. Like me. A few months later, we hosted our first dinner. Just close friends. My sister came. She looked around and smiled. "You did it, Em." I nodded. "I didn't think I could." "But you did." And she was right. I did. I survived betrayal. I faced truth. Walked away when staying would have been easier. I chose myself, then found someone who chose me too. Ryan stood beside me that night, holding a tray of desserts he'd made himself. I whispered, "I think I'm ready." He turned. "Ready for what?" "To marry again." He dropped the tray. We laughed. And then he cried. "So did I? Because this time?" It was real. We didn't plan a big wedding. Just a small ceremony in the backyard. The oak tree is our witness. I wore a simple dress. He wore a smile that never faded. We wrote our own vows. No speeches about leaving. Only about staying, showing up. Loving hard. And loving right. I said, "I promise to never rehearse a goodbye. Only hellos. And I promise to always choose us." He said, "I promise to never make you question your worth. Because you are everything." We kissed. The crowd clapped. And the sun dipped behind the tree. Later that night, I sat alone for a moment, just to breathe. Just to thank the world. And myself. For surviving, for starting over, for finding something real. Daniel crossed my mind. Briefly. But I let the thought pass, like a cloud, like a memory I didn't need to hold. Because this life, this love, it was mine now. Earned. Built. Cherished. People often ask if I regret anything. If I wish I'd never heard that speech. But I don't. Because that moment broke me, but it also woke me up. Without it, I might still be pretending, still be shrinking, still be waiting to be seen. Now, I live wide awake, I live full, I live loved. One day, I found my old journal. From the week after I left Daniel. The first page read, "I don't know who I am without him." I stared at the words, and smiled. Because now I do. I'm Emily, I'm strong. I'm free, I'm whole. And I'll never forget that. Not ever. I never meant for her to hear it, that speech, those words. I was rehearsing because I was scared. Too scared to say them to her face. But she came home early. And everything fell apart. I still remember the look in her eyes. Shock. Betrayal. Pain. It broke something in both of us. I watched the woman I loved walk out the door. And I knew in that moment, I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. Emily was everything. But I'd forgotten how to see her. How to appreciate her. And somewhere along the way, I stopped trying. It wasn't just one fight, or one day. It was months of silence, of assuming she'd always be there. Of taking her for granted. Until one day, I looked in the mirror and realized I didn't even know who I was anymore. I didn't cheat with my body, but I cheated in my mind. I let another woman into my head, into my thoughts. Lisa. It was nothing serious. A few lunches, some smiles, a stupid joke in the car. But the damage was done. Emily found that video. The one I forgot to delete. And that was it. The final nail. She confronted me. And I had no defense. No excuse. Just shame. And regret. She left for good after that. And I don't blame her. I destroyed something precious, something real. I went to therapy after she left, not to win her back, but to figure out why I blew up my own life, why I took the one good thing I had and crushed it. It wasn't about Emily. It was about me. My fear of being ordinary. My fear of being vulnerable. My fear of admitting I needed help. I wanted to be strong. But real strength, it's in honesty. It's in love. It's in staying, not running, not hiding behind practice speeches. I spent months unlearning my patterns, owning my damage. I wrote letters I never sent. Letters to Emily. Pages of apologies. Not just for the lie, but for every time I made her feel small, unseen, unloved. Watched her move on from a distance. I saw her at the store once. She looked peaceful. Light. Whole. She didn't need me anymore. That hurt, but it also gave me peace. Because maybe she was finally living the life I couldn't give her. The one she deserved. I heard she met someone new. Ryan. A good man. They said. I hope it's true. Because she deserves good. She gave good, even when I didn't. Never dated after her. I couldn't. Every woman felt like a shadow. Every smile felt like a lie. So I stayed alone, focused on work. On growth, on being better. I stopped rehearsing speeches. I started having real conversations. With friends, with my therapist. With myself. One day, I walked by our old house. She wasn't there anymore, but I could still see her on that porch, laughing, wearing that oversized sweater she loved. Hair in a bun. Cup of tea in hand. Smiled, and I said thank you, out loud. Thank you, Emily, for loving me. For forgiving me as long as you did. And for finally walking away, because your strength saved both of us. I don't know if I'll ever love again. Maybe someday. But for now, I'm just learning to live with myself. To be okay in the quiet. To be honest in the mirror. Sometimes I still dream about her. She's always smiling in those dreams, never crying. I think that's how I'll choose to remember her. Not the night she found the speech, but the 1,000 days before that. The days she made me coffee. The way she danced in the hallway. The time she stayed up with me when my father died. She was my home once, and I burned it down, but I'm building something new. Now. Brick by brick. Day by day. That's not perfect, but it's mine, and it's real. I hope she's happy. Truly. Fully. Because in some small, quiet way, I still love her. Not to have her back, but to honor who she was in my life, who she helped me become. And maybe that's the only closure I need. Not a reunion, not a second chance, just peace, and a heart that finally tells the truth. Without needing a script. When I met Emily, she carried a quiet strength, but also a shadow, a past that weighed heavy. She didn't tell me everything at once, but I saw it in her eyes. In the way she flinched sometimes, the way she hesitated to trust. I wasn't in a hurry. I wanted to be patient. To show her love wasn't a threat. I knew she'd been hurt before. Deeply. By someone she thought would never leave. Never rehearsed speeches, because I wanted honesty. Every day. I remember the first time she smiled freely. It felt like sunshine after a storm. We took small steps. Coffee dates, long talks, walking the dog, cooking dinners. One night, she told me about Daniel. How she found him rehearsing the breakup speech. How it broke her heart. I listened. Without judgment, only love. She said she wasn't sure she could love again, but she was trying. That night, I held her hand. And promised I'd never give her a reason to doubt. I wanted to be her safe place. Her home. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I try. Every day. We moved in together, bought a small house, made it ours. The day I gave her that silver ring, I wasn't asking for forever. I was making a promise, a key promise to show up. To be honest. To love her as she deserves. Months passed. We grew, learned each other's rhythms, laughed at silly jokes. Cried when things got hard. One evening, we sat under the oak tree in our backyard. She looked at me. And said, I'm ready. Ready for what? She smiled. To marry again. My heart soared. I never thought I'd be the one to heal her wounds, but she healed me too. Her courage, her strength. It inspired me. On our wedding day, I promised her truth. No rehearsals. No lies. Just us. Real. Flawed. Beautiful. I see her now. Happy. Whole. That's what matters. I'm grateful. For every moment, for every lesson. For the chance to love someone who truly needed it. Emily. You taught me what love really means, and I'll spend my life proving it to you.